Every single year, the world of football just stops for one award. It's the most prestigious individual prize a player can possibly win, and without fail, it's also the most controversial. So today, we're going to dive right into the beautiful chaos of the 2025 Ballon d'Or.
But of course, it's not just a PSG show. The list is absolutely packed with global superstars from all over Europe's top leagues. We're talking massive names like Kylian Mbappe at his new home in Real Madrid, Liverpool's always dangerous Mo Salah, and Barcelona's wonder kid Lamine Yamal. The competition is just fierce.
But you know, beyond all the big names and which club has the most players, the real magic of the Ballon d'Or, it's in the stories. So let's look at the human angle here, the narratives that make this race so compelling. And man, talk about a tale of two completely different stories right at the top. On one hand, you've got Ousmane Dembélé, the redeemer, who after a really tough time at Barcelona has just found this new life at PSG and led them to that Champions League trophy. And then you have Lamine Yamal, the prodigy, a teenager carrying Barcelona on his back while trying to make history as the first team to ever win the award. And the raw stats, they absolutely back up their claims. Dembele's 51 goal contributions, that's phenomenal. And Yamal's 43, for a teenager, that is just mind-blowing. But hold on, don't you dare forget about Mo Salah. With 57 goal contributions, he is statistically right there at the very top of the food chain. And then you get these underdog stories that, let's be honest, we all love to root for. Take Scott McTominay. He went from being kind of a scapegoat at Manchester United to an absolute revelation since his move to Napoli. Fans are calling it a crazy career turnaround. And it's that romanticism, that story, that makes his nomination so great.
Or get this one. How about Denzel Dumfries? This is just incredible. When he was 18, his own teammates at Sparta Rotterdam literally laughed in his face when he said he wanted to play for the Dutch national team. And now, he's a Ballon d'Or nominee who has gotten way further than any of them.
But let's be real here. That official list, that's just the start of the conversation. The real answer to who is the best, well, that often comes from the passionate, chaotic, and frankly, super entertaining world of the fan debate online.
Because the second that list drops, what's the first thing everyone on the internet does? They scream the same question. Who got snubbed? Who was robbed of a spot they totally deserved?
And yeah, this year, the list of so-called snubs it's a long one. If you go in places like Reddit, fans are absolutely furious that players like Newcastle's Alexander Isak, Bayern's Joshua Kimmich, and Real Madrid's Federico Valverde got left off. And it also brings up that common complaint that top defenders like Pacho and Bastoni almost always get overlooked.
And this quote right here, it just captures that feeling perfectly. The argument for Isak isn't just about his stats. Fans who watched him week in and week out saw him as arguably the second best player in the entire league. So leaving him off just feels, as this user put it, mad.
So you've got the snubs, but then there's the other side of the coin, right? Who is on the list that maybe shouldn't be? This year, there's one name in particular that has become a total lightning rod for controversy.
For a whole lot of fans, seeing Real Madrid's Vinicius Jr. on the list, especially when a guy like Alexander Isak isn't, well, it was just laughable to them.
And when you look at the data, you can actually see both sides of the argument. Vinny Jr. has more goals and assists, and he played in the Champions League, the biggest stage. But Isak's numbers, without any European football at all, were fantastic. And this really gets to the heart of it. How much should the team you play for matter?
But listen, for every single critic, there's a defender who's just as passionate. Vinny's supporters will tell you that the constant criticism he gets is way over the top, maybe even personal. It just goes to show you how completely polarized and wild these conversations can get.
So all this chaos, the snubs, the debates, the rivalries, it all points to a much bigger question. What are we actually voting for here? What are the real criteria for winning this thing? And this hits on a belief that a lot of fans have, that the goalposts have totally shifted. In the past, before the whole Messi/Ronaldo era, pure individual brilliance could win you the award, even if your team wasn't the best. But today, a lot of people argue it's become less about the single best player and more about just picking the best player from the best trophy-winning team.
And that really brings us to the core of it all. Maybe the Ballon d'Or isn't actually about crowning one single winner. Maybe its true value, its purpose, is the argument that it creates, this global, passionate, never-ending conversation about what makes a player truly great.
So, I'll leave you with that central question. When it's all said and done, what do you value the most? Is it the raw stats, the major trophies, or is it that unforgettable story? What really makes the best player in the world?